Alrighty, hello lovely year nines. Final video in the series for chapter 5, and that's solving linear inequalities. So we've had a look at solving linear equations, introduced you to inequalities in the previous video, and so today we're basically combining the two and we're going to be solving linear inequalities. And it's exactly the same as solving a linear equation, except that our solution is a range of values rather than a single solution. And the only additional rule that you need to be aware of is that if, well, let's go here. So that if you multiply or divide both sides of the equation by a negative value, you must reverse the inequality sign to make the answer true. So let's go through and see how this works. We don't have to really consider that rule in this first example, but we would do in the later examples. So in this first one here, we're going to treat it like a normal equation. 4x take 5 is less than 3. So I'm going to get rid of the loose term first. So I'm going to say 4x is going to be, so I'm going to add 5 to both sides. 3 and 5 is 8. I'm going to divide both sides by 2. And I'm going to get x is less than equal to 2, because 8 divided by 4 is 2. And let's think about that. So 4 times 2 is 8. 8 take 5 is 3. So 3 is not less than 3, but you know, if x is less than 2, then that would work. So if I picked 1, 4 times 1 is 4. 4 take 5 is -1. Yep. So -1 is less than 3. That's true. So what were the steps that I did here? I did add 5. Divide by 4. And now I can do a visual representation of this. So basically I'm just going to draw a little number line. And where are we at? So I'm just going to go here 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we're saying that our value is x has to be less than 2. So that would be a value there, and it goes there. So any value less than 2 would satisfy that equation there. All right, let's come down to the next examples. So what I want to do is I need to get rid of that -2x. So I've got to divide both sides by -2. Now, this is where we come back to our previous rule. When we multiply or divide both sides of the equation by a negative value, you must reverse the inequality sign to make it true. So if I was to do that for here, I would get x is now greater than or equal to -3. I'll just redo that. Is equal to -3. And let's graph that solution there. So you know you'd get. So we'd get -5, -4, -3, -2, -1, 0. So then x would have to be greater than or equal to any value there. So let's test it out. If I was to put in -3 itself into there, -2 minus 3 is +6. 6 is not less than 6, but it is equal to 6. So yep, that works. So let's try 0. -2 times 0 is 0. 0 is less than or equal to 6. That works. Now, if I was to put in, say, -5, that shouldn't work. -2 times -5 is +10. 10 is not less than or equal to 6, so that's not true. So yep, so that's worked for us. So we just have to flip the sign going through there. Anyway, so for this next one, I've got -x/3 is greater than 4. So I'm going to times both sides by -3 to get rid of the negative and the divided by 3 there. So that would give me x is, I've got to flip the sign, and -12 for that one there. Okay, so all I did was here divide by -2. All we did here was multiplied by -3, and we flip the signs when we do that. All right, final example here. There's actually 2 ways of doing this. I'm going to do it the way that I've already showed you. So basically, first of all, I want to, I've got that -2x. I'm going to get rid of 3 from both sides. So 4 take 3 is 1. And then we divide both sides by -2. So I'm going to flip the sign. It goes to greater than or equal to, and that's going to give me -1/2 like that there. Okay. Now I'll do it a different way. So if I was to say -2x plus 3 is less than or equal to 4, What I'm going to do this way is I'm going to put the 2x on the other side. So I'm going to add 2x to both sides. So if I do that, I'm going to have 3 is less than or equal to 4 plus 2x. Now, when you add and subtract negatives from both sides, it doesn't change the sign. It's only multiplying and dividing. So if I was to get rid of the 4 from both sides, I would have minus 1 is less than or equal to 2x. And then if I was to divide both sides by 2, I'd get negative half is less than or equal to x. You're thinking, well, what's the relationship between these two answers? They both have an x and a negative half, but they're just the other way around. So essentially, if you were to essentially rotate it around, negative half is less than or equal to x is exactly the same as x is greater than or equal to negative half, like so. So they are both the same answers. So you can do it both ways, but I prefer to do it this way here. It's sort of the more, I don't know, more easier logical way of doing it. So I'll just show you the steps that I did there. I subtracted 3 from both sides, and then I divided by minus 2. Okay, so really solving like normal equations, but if you multiply and divide by negatives, you just flip the sign, and that's all you need to keep in mind. All right, have a good one, guys.